Let's talk more about today's movements with Wayne Mccurrie from FNB Wealth and Investments. Wayne, thank you so much for joining us. What was the market's reaction on the unchanged rate announcement from the Reserve Bank? I see it was down more than 2% at closing.
Well, look, it had very little to do with our Reserve Bank's decision. It was the American Reserve Bank's decision last night that actually scared our market, simply because even though they kept rates unchanged as expected, the governor in America gave a very negative outlook on inflation, and specifically two things changed. Number one, he said we could very easily get another increase before the end of the year. There's only 2 meetings to go. And then he forecast far fewer cuts next year than what the market was anticipating. So all the American markets were down quite strongly last night, and on opening again today, they're also down strongly between 1% and 2%. So it's really all to do with America and American interest rate outlooks and the weakness we see on their markets and in Europe and in the UK today. It's actually very little to do with the South African rate decision.
Was there any reaction specifically on our unchanged announcement? We know we all expected it, but was there anything pertinent just coming forward from Lesetja Kganyago's announcement?
Not really. The rand actually strengthened a little bit. It's unchanged on the day, as you indicated, showed there. It weakened a little bit as the announcement came out. It went just above 19, but it's now strengthened back to 1886. So quite honestly, there was no real reaction on our governor's announcement.
Wayne, let's go to some company news. Astral released a trading update and statement saying that power cuts and avian flu is having a devastating impact on their business.
Look, this is a very difficult business. You're subject to dumping from overseas. It's really a harsh environment. Astral say they've spent 1.9 billion on load shedding on diesel, because imagine you've got to keep your chickens warm in winter, otherwise they die. So, and they've spent 200 million rand on capital expenditure to try and alleviate the load shedding. And they've got this avian flu. Now, avian flu happens relatively often, surprisingly enough. It's not really a new thing. Every couple of years you get a new strain of avian flu, but it's a very, very difficult environment, and it's pushing them from a profit right into a loss. And clearly the market didn't like this and wasn't expecting it, and also pushed the shares down. Now, this is not a reflection on Astral and their management. It's just an incredibly difficult industry, this, especially in the South African operating environment.
And then to other company, Remgro also released their results, but with a 60% increase in full-year dividend payout, yet also describing the year as one of the most difficult business environments to operate in since its inception, and that's a quote from them.
Yes. I mean, obviously, we all know it's very, very difficult. I will be honest and say, current difficulties always seem bigger than past difficulties because you forget the past difficulties. But they did well. Mediclinic did well. FirstRand came in. All of their business units actually did quite well. And obviously, surprisingly enough, along with many, many South African companies, there's excess cash. So they paid out way more dividends than what their profits went up by. Their dividend, as you said, was up 60%, which is very, very good news for shareholders.
And then thanks to strong organic cash generation and growth in business segments, Insurer Discovery was able to resume paying its annual dividend to shareholders. And I think they stopped it during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yes, Discovery's always been, because they're investing into the future and putting a lot of money specifically into their overseas expansion, but also, we know Discovery has branched out quite a bit in the domestic market as well. They've always invested their free cash flow into these future businesses or business expansion. So they've always been a little bit short of cash to pay dividends. And obviously when COVID came, they cut the dividend. So it's extremely good news that they feel confident enough now from a cash flow perspective to actually increase, to pay dividends out again. I think the market will like that.
Just the last one, Wayne, on the oil price. I see it edged up again. It was showing volatility this week. What is happening there? What can we expect of the oil price into next week? Is it going to definitely break through the $95 mark?
Oh, I wish I knew the answer to that. But we all know that this oil price we're seeing is artificial. It's an engineered oil price because of Saudi Arabia and Russia cutting production to get the prices high. I mean, the oil price, given economic conditions worldwide, the oil price should be 80 or 75. It shouldn't be 95, possibly going to 100. So this is an engineered price, but unfortunately, we got no option. Longer term, they may regret increasing the price or pushing the price up by artificial means, because it'll just hasten the move to electric. So they're already in a declining industry, and this will just hasten the decline, because in, I don't know, 20 years' time, the demand for oil will be significantly less than what it is now.
Thank you so much, Wayne. That was Wayne Mccurrie from FNB Wealth and Investments.